Hello everyone, my name is Abhijan and in today's video I will be discussing what session hijacking is and how we can hijack somebody's session using Elmah logs. So to begin with, I'm a senior software developer at NeoGov. I also write my own blog at abhijansblog.com, and if you want to reach me, my Twitter handle is abhijan369. So we will be discussing what Elmah, like how we can hijack somebody's session using Elmah logs and how we can prevent this type of attack from happening. So Elmah is a very useful application for logging errors in production. Elmah stands for Error Logging Modules and Handlers, and it gives you a very important piece of information like what all exceptions are going on in your application in production. So those exceptions can be easily fixed if you know what those are, and you can investigate into that. And what session hijacking is, it's basically stealing somebody's session identifier to gain unauthorized access. So session is the session identifier is the one that identifies your session to the server. So at the client side, if you are able to steal somebody's session, then basically you don't need their credentials. You just use their authentication cookie or whatever is the session identifier. You use that, and the server thinks that that you are the user whose session ID has been stolen. So let's take a look at that. For this example, I have created a small application. It's an MVC application created in Visual Studio 2013 using MVC 5, and it's simple. It's a simple employees controller with basic CRUD functionality. And if you look at it, I have this authorize attribute where I'm saying that only this user is allowed to access the edit, get and post, both of them. So at post as well as on get, unless and until if you're not innocent user at xyz.com, you're not allowed to access it. So currently I'm logged in as innocent user here, and I've opened this in incognito mode. So in order to just demonstrate this attack, here if I try to go to the edit page, I can easily access it because I have the permissions for that. However, if I am logged in as another guy, say malicious user at xyz.com, so here I am logged in as malicious user at xyz.com, and if I try to access the edit page here, I do not have access to the edit page. So it redirects me to the login page because I'm not authorized for this action. So my application is telling me that you need to log in through some different credentials or something, and since malicious user does not have the permissions, he cannot access the edit page. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to access the Elmah logs of this application. And in this application, now I'm going to make the innocent user throw some exception or something, just for example. It could be any exception across your system, and right now I'm forcing the exception to happen here, but this could be any JavaScript exception or anything that could be happening in your system. So this threw an exception here, and now let's take a look at the Elmah logs. So now I see the exception details here, and as I go through the exception details, here inside this I have all that information, like all the HTTP information, all the raw information, which user was the one whose account was logged in when the exception was thrown, and all the information, like what was the URL that this person was trying to access and everything. So now the interesting part to me is this ASP.NET.application cookie, and what I'm gonna do is I'm just copying this value, and I'm hitting F12 here. I have this plugin called edit this cookie, and inside this I can access all the cookies and I can edit their values. So what I'm doing is I'm just replacing the application cookie from the Elmah log which I copied. So I do this and I click somewhere outside the box, so it got saved here, and now I'm gonna just simply refresh the page. And please notice, so I'm currently logged in as malicious user at xyz.com, and now I'm refreshed, and now I'm logged in as an innocent user at xyz.com, and now I click on edit, and I'm able to edit the employees information. I'm able to access the edit page. So this so the purpose of this video is just to show you that how important it is to configure the Elmah logs properly, and so that they are not accessible to somebody outside the organization who is not supposed to have access to this. Um, so yeah, I use this plugin as I mentioned earlier. Now let's understand how do we prevent it. In order to prevent such kind of attacks, proper configuration is really necessary for Elmah. So I'll show you some of the configurations which are helpful. So if I go here in the web.config, first of all we have this thing called allow remote access. So if you do not allow remote access at all, then it will be accessible only on the server machine wherever the application is deployed. So nowhere else it will be accessible. So if you do that, then yes, then you have limited, like, okay, unless and until you're not at the server, you won't be able to access the Elmah logs. However, if you want to allow the access, and since as in this case we have set allow remote access to yes, now let's take a look at all these app settings. And in the app settings I have allowed roles, allowed users, and requires authentication. So first of all, you need to mention that requires authentication. So you might want to have this value to true, like, so the person has to be authenticated in order to access the Elmah logs. You can allow only specific roles. So suppose you can say like only admin role is allowed or something, or like HR role, or I don't know, like IT admin, something, whichever is there in your organization. You can even do it on the basis of username. So only this allowed users. So if I put in like innocent user at xyz.com, so unless and until you are not logged in as any of this like users, allowed users, you can have multiple users here. If you are any of those, then only you will be given the access. So yeah, so we discussed about allow remote access, remote authentication, requires authentication, and allowed roles. And so that's all I wanted to mention in this video. And in order to, if you want to reach me, my LinkedIn, if you on LinkedIn, my URL is linkedin.com/in/abhijan369. My Twitter handle again is abhijan369. Please follow my blog. I will be mentioning more such attacks, and I update it very frequently. I do it every week, so you can get some more information, learn some more things. And on Facebook, my URL is facebook.com/abhijan369. So thank you all again for watching the video. Hope you have a nice day. Thanks again. Bye.